What's going on, y'all? This is Emmanuel. So, next up, I have the lovely ladies of Allure. Now, Allure made their debut back in 1997 under Mariah Carey's label, Crave Records. They have had hits like All Cried Out featuring 112 and Head Over Heels featuring Nas. They are incredibly supportive of the special delivery show. I had the honor of having them on 3 times. I love them so much. I'm so honored to be able to call them friends. So I want to introduce first up Aaliyah Gray, then Lalisha Sanders, and finally Akissa Mendez.
So I can remember that day, June 25th, 2009. I was at home and all day the news was kind of buzzing, and you had, like, you know how when you have the news going on and then they have underneath all the words, and you heard something about Michael Jackson, but it was right before, it wasn't when he actually passed away. So I remember kind of keeping my ear to the news and just hoping that and praying that he was going to be okay. My baby girl was 1 year old, and we listened to Michael Jackson all day, every day, because I'm such a huge fan of his. He's like one of my biggest inspirations. And I remember when I finally heard them say that he had passed away, my eyes started welling up, and I was like, oh, maybe they're just making this up. This is not true. Then my aunt called me, and she says, hey, I'm just checking on you. So she was like, because I know how much you love Michael Jackson. So she was like, I just wanted to make sure you were okay. And when she said that, that's when I just started bawling, crying. Like, you would have thought I knew him personally. I never got to meet him, but I did get to speak to him on the phone. So that moment stays in my mind forever and ever. And I mean, everybody knows how much of an inspiration Michael Jackson was. I don't really have the words to describe how much he really meant to me, and one of the reasons why I'm in this industry today. He was a special person in every way, and he was just an amazing performer, and there will never be another MJ. I love him, always will love him. I still listen to his music. I will continue to listen to his music. I have videos of my baby girl when she was a baby dancing to Michael Jackson, singing to Michael Jackson, and she listens to him to this day, and he will always be in our household forever and ever. We love you, MJ.
Hey, Emmanuel. How that day affected me as a person and an artist is, I would never forget it. I was about almost 3 months pregnant with my son, and it really felt like a family member had passed away. Deeply sad, and still mourning the passing of one of the greats to ever do it. He basically, I instill, like, if you ask my son now to this day, like, he could tell you a Michael Jackson song, like, whether he's familiar with it or not. He's familiar with his sound, his technique, and I've even I guess I would have to say, like, I let music guide me with raising my child as well. Like, you know, he would learn certain things through cadences. Like, I would teach him how to spell and tap out things through cadences. Like, I remember someone actually telling me to stop crying because my child would come out to be a crybaby, and he's not a crybaby, but he has no problem becoming emotional when he needs to. But I will never forget that day, and his legacy will continue to live on.
Hey, this is your girl Akissa from Allure. So thinking about the day when Michael Jackson passed away, I can vividly remember not having a good day already. Life was lifing, you know, and usually whenever things feel down or things don't feel like they're going right, I always obviously turn to music because music makes everything feel better. And I remember turning the TV on and seeing the breaking news go across the screen, and it just said Michael Jackson is dead. And I honestly feel like my whole world just kind of stood still, thinking about me growing up and listening to music in my house, you know, with my family. Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5 were very instrumental in all the reasons why I wanted to sing and all of the reasons why I love music so much. Seeing a child, you know, at his age, singing the way that he was and dancing the way that he was like super surreal for me. And singing wasn't really something that I wanted to do, like all of my life. I wanted to be a social worker like my mom, but my mom was the one that pushed the music. Music was always blazing through the house, Every Saturday morning we had chores, and that's what we would listen to, Motown sounds, a lot of Latin music, but Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 were it. There was no party, there was no get-together without listening to Michael or the Jackson 5. And I just honestly remember feeling like my whole world just stood still. My heart felt like it literally broke. I thought it was a joke, and I was praying to God that it was a joke. It was just something that, I think at times we forget that death is inevitable. And every time somebody passes away, we're like all distraught about it. But it's so heavy when it's somebody who, when you think about a beautiful time in your life and you think about a song like I'll Be There, or you think about a sad time in your life and you think about In a Small World, there's certain moments that I always say, like, there's moments in our lives where we have soundtracks, like how we always say you can walk into a room and you have your own theme song. There's certain moments in my life that I remember always having a specific song that was like the soundtrack to that moment of my life. And Michael Jackson played a huge part in a large portion of my life. So to see that he wasn't here anymore and that we were no longer going to be able to see him moving across that stage, moonwalking across the stage and sharing his talents was something that was very heartbreaking. To this day, I listen to him and I still cry. It's been very sad. We've lost so many legends. But Michael was one of the ones that really, really stung, and when you look at him and you watch old videos and stuff, I remember him being my first crush. I used to love his smile, But yeah, it's one of those pains that runs deep, and it's just going to always hurt, But we're super grateful, and we're going to always know that the music will live on and his legacy will continue through the music. At least we have that. But that was a very sad day for me, and I'm sure the rest of the world.